What's up, Fish Huge fans? Welcome to the Fish Huge YouTube channel. I'm Captain Christopher Weir, and I want you guys to go and subscribe for me and hit the like button, share with a friend, and I got some pretty cool footage for you guys today. So let's go ahead and check this out. Get started here. This is a little bit different kind of deal than what I usually do. So we're going to get down here, and as I'm dropping my camera down, you'll notice there's a lot of bait fish, and these look like cigar minnows to me. They were circling the boat, and I could mark those on my depth finder. I was seeing those as we were going over top. I was also seeing all these fish here, which are elevated, well off the bottom. And a lot of these are going to be mangrove snapper, vermilion, lane snapper. You'll get some triggerfish. They'll come up off the bottom, and every now and then, you'll see a grouper marked on your screen. Some of those bigger marks, they'll be 3 or 4 feet off the bottom, and then hit bottom here, and you're going to notice all these fish coming in to investigate the camera. So they want to see what's going on. And then, a nice sized red grouper. Hey, look at that one. Pretty good one there. And fast forward a little bit. And you're going to see our bait come dropping in here. So here's our bait. Go back a little bit. And you can hear something messing around with the camera right there, and then here comes our bait dropping in. That is a 4-ounce jig head with a sand perch. And you can see the grouper over there messing with the camera. It looks like he tried to take a bite out of it. And so these fish, they seen that come down, and they all come over here and they start biting on it and messing with it. And that's a decent sized sand perch on that. And you see this big cloud start to form, and just off camera, that's one of our other baits getting tore up by all these fish. And you're gonna see right here. Here comes a triggerfish. She sniffed it out or seen it or something, come flying over to start chewing on it. And that's a really big sand perch, so it's really hard to see what's going on with all this. I'm gonna clear it up. Over here, it starts to clear up. And excuse me. And you're gonna notice big feeding frenzy, and this goes on for 20-30 minutes, them just tearing up all of our different baits we're dropping down. And you can see there's some really decent sized fish in there. Really nice to see this. And you see it's not a whole lot of structure, so it's fairly sandy with a lot of different natural bottom, algae and coral. Let this play out a little bit. You guys take a look at all the fish. Really nice triggerfish too. I really enjoy seeing this. Really cool footage. I was lucky enough to get my bait to drop right in front of them. So that was cool. See lots of lane snapper, looks like some pretty big mangroves there in the background. Bunch of red grouper. These red grouper are everywhere. We're catching them 30 plus inches in this spot, so some of those red grouper are massive. See, there's another bait that dropped down, and they're just destroying it. There's got to be hundreds, if not 1,000 fish in there. Including a big old triggerfish. Sucker's a monster. He looks big anyways. And the water was pretty clear on the top of the column, but once you get down here with this feeding frenzy, they've done stirred up the bottom so much. It's hard to see, but you can still make out all the fish in the background there to the right of the screen. Just tearing it up. Forward here a little bit. Now they're all looking for leftovers. Waiting for another bait to drop down. See if I can find it here. Another spot. All those mangroves. Catch big mangroves here too. They're all rooting around, looking for another bait. Hungry fish. And to the left of the screen, see his grouper come in with a fish hanging out his mouth. I think he robbed us. We're using real big baits that day too, so let's move on. Vermilion. So this is another one of our spots right here. You're gonna see as it spins around. Right here to the right of the screen, you're gonna notice it's all sandy in the background there. There may be a few scattered rocks here and there, but then you got this rock ledge that comes up to the left here, and you're going to see that on your bottom screen. When you're over sand, it's going to be a thin red line at the bottom, and then when you get over the rocks, it's going to be a thicker red line, and you're going to notice the elevation change, and then you're going to start marking these big cup corals here, and you're going to start marking all these little smaller stuff and the algae, and that's going to show up, you know, as different colors on your depth finder and different elevation changes. So that's how you find a spot like this. But you're going to notice there's not a whole lot of fish on this spot, even though if you look, it's a really good bottom here. So go ahead and finish panning around. Lots of coral, lots of big structure. We did catch a few fish here, but you know, nothing crazy like the last scene you guys just seen. This a little bit more structure, but doesn't seem to be as many fish here. And I notice a lot of times fishing these kinds of structures, a lot of times they'll be a little bit further in off of the sand area. So, you know, I think if we would have moved a little bit further in, got off this sandy area here and got more over the rocky area, we would have probably caught a lot more. And you can see how far back it goes. So, you know, you want to get, you know, however big it is, it depends, but, you know, get over the rocky area more. and you'll be able to draw the fish up with the chum that way. It also depends on the current, which way the current's going. So when you're chumming up, you want to take into account where the structure is, and then how deep it is, and where you want to bring those fish up to. Fast forward through. Lots of hard bottom, different kinds of algae, and there's plenty of life out there in the Gulf. And these last two scenes here were in about 100 feet of water. So let's go ahead and move forward. Take you guys to the next spot. See, pretty much more or less the same thing. Big cup corals. Some digititas coming up off the bottom there. That was a triggerfish. Come and check out the camera. They're really curious guys. So right here, you're gonna see this is one of my inshore or nearshore spots that's in about 40 feet of water, and it's just off the channel leaving out of Tampa Bay. So this I found, and I decided to drop the camera down there to see what it was. And I had a suspicion that it was a buoy, and it happened to be a buoy. But you see this scamp grouper right here in the foreground, a couple of porkfish, school of mangrove snapper, and some chubs there. You got that nice rock ledge, and you're gonna let it go around. Mr. Goliath grouper there, and you can see in the background the chains and the anchor and stuff for the buoy. And this nice shelly kind of sandy ditch running between the rock pile. So you see that right there. That's like all natural rocks, I suppose. It looks, like it. And then here it kind of looks like the same thing in the foreground here with the Swiss cheese bottom and the ledge. And you got all the coral and algae growth right there. You see got some digitatas right there with a whole bunch of different kinds of algae, and I mean it looks like a saltwater aquarium. Really, really awesome. And you see our bait taking off from the bottom there, and mangrove snapper checking it out. I mean, look at that. That's just awesome bottom. You can see all the digitatas, and they go on for miles. That's those stick things sticking up, and then also some of the darker clumps there that you see. Those are digitatas. I'm pretty sure they're digitatas. They look like it. And you got the mangrove snapper there in the middle, and the sheep's head to the right, and then you got your Goliath grouper up there. And I wish I would have. That's a white grunt. I wish I would have took my camera and had my camera positioned a little bit tilted up more so I can get a better view. But this is what I got. I got pretty good footage here, so that pan around a couple times here. And let's see. The background here, you're gonna start seeing some grouper sticking their heads out, coming over to that ledge, setting up for ambush on that ledge. See, there he is, just off to the top right of the screen, just off the buoy there. He's coming over to the ledge. Here he comes back around. You got the tropical fish there. Kind of angelfish or something. You got the grouper in the background there again, and then there's another one behind the ledge to the top right. Also, there's another one back in there. and we started chumming up this area, so a lot of different fish started coming out from the structure, and they wanted to see what everything was feeding on. So it takes a little bit to get some of the bigger ones in, but once you start chumming up, they'll come over to investigate, see what's going on. So you throw them the right bait, and you'll get them. And then you can see the scamp right there, just behind the ledge. It's either a scamp or a gag grouper. It's hard to tell there. Either way, it looked like a pretty nice sized fish. You see them in the background. You got all the hogfish and stuff scattered throughout there. And they're attacking one of our baits that we dropped down. Swing back around. Got a little hogfish. That appears to be a scamp grouper, I think. And there's another one way in the background there between the two sticks. They look like cactuses. But there's a nice sized grouper there, and then there's another one in front of him. And if you pay attention to the background, there's a bunch of fish in the background moving along that ledge there. And you see how far the bottom goes, natural bottom. And I think it's cool that we got stony coral, right there in the Gulf, especially after the red tide we had last year. And to go out there this year and capture bottom like this and still seeing it looking good, that makes me happy. That means fishing's going to continue to be good. And you can see a couple of nice fish here. You got the grouper right there in the middle, and then a nice mangrove right over top of him. And then again, there's some other fish in the background. They're just kind of hard to see. You can kind of make them out there as it's panning around. Yeah, lizardfish. More tropical fish, some of those purple and yellow fish. We're sitting back there again. Let's go forward a little bit here. See the different color water was coming in and out. It would be like blue and then green and then blue. See, we got the grouper in the background still. Back forward. You got sea urchin, got all the corals. Really good look at it right there. Wrasse right there in front of us. Probably eating on copepods and amphipods. There's a bunch of wrasse down there. And then you see the big grouper must have seen something dropping or something got his attention, so he decided to come over there and check it out. But he took off from that ledge and he bolted right over to it. I don't know if maybe he got one of our baits, and then that was another fish right there in the middle of the screen that takes off to the right. So he has another grouper. He was just chilling there. He was probably sitting right there the whole time looking at the camera, and all those times you go around, you don't see him. They camouflage so well to the bottom. And he's just sitting there waiting to ambush. A little bit here. That's why I like to free line these spots. It's only in 40 so feet of water. As long as the current works with us and our bait works with us, and you can get your bait to go straight down. I like to free line a large pinfish or lizardfish. Works really good, lizardfish for grouper bait, and sand perch, or what people call squirrel fish, but I call those sand perch. And you free line one of those down with a nice beefy circle hook, probably like a number 5 or a number 6 circle hook with 40 to 80. I go 80-pound tests, sometimes. I actually like to start out at the heavier test. If I'm not getting any bites, I'll put another rod down with like 60-pound test or like 50-pound test, and if that one starts getting hit more than the other one, then I'll switch over. But I like to start with the heavier pound because you only get a couple tries at these guys, before they shut down. Yeah, free lining bait in these a little bit shallower water is always good, and you can do it in deeper water. You'll get some big fish once you start chumming up. Uh, you'll start chumming up these fish. They'll come right up off the bottom, and you can drop your bait down and easily, get some big grouper or some big snapper that way. And you see it pan around. You see the white grunt right there, and then right there in the background, you're gonna see our bait is fluttering, and just right up next to that rock. And there's a red grouper and another fish over there trying to eat the bait. A couple other fish go over there to check it out. I mean, you can see this is just aside from that buoy being there, the bottom alone, holds these fish. So that's what you're looking for when you're looking for bottom. This is definitely it right here. Yeah, I was really glad to see this kind of bottom right here out of Tampa Bay, and it's just filled with hogfish. There's hogfish all over this thing. I'm sure you know what a hogfish looks like. You've seen them, as I've been going through the film here. It's another good look at what the bottom looks like. A bait right there in the middle with a fish messing with it. Yeah, you see that ledge just goes on for as far as you can see. If I would have my camera tilted up a little better, you probably could have seen a little further, but I guess it is what it is. Pull a little bit. Pretty much getting to the end of it. I think it's a pretty good go at a video here. So guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and go to fishhuge.com, get you some apparel, book a trip with me, Captain Chris, and we'll go out and we'll catch some of these fish that we've seen down there. All right, guys. So thank you. Fish Huge.